get started. So, all right. So let's go ahead and we'll just kind of kick through this. Core behaviors, you know these. Be scrappy, find a way to say yes, fail quickly, have fun. Always love putting those up. So today we are I'm going to give you kind of a really good production update because I think we have a lot to be excited about. I have a number of company updates to share. I don't think we'll have any partners that will be joining us. At least they haven't said. I'll watch if I see them dial in. Then we'll kind of talk about, they'll do the Agent Accelerator about listing presentations. And then at 12:15, Nathan from AdWorks is going to dial in with us and offer some training, because one of the things, as I've been talking to most of you, trying to understand kind of what challenges us. I think sometimes some people don't know how to use AdWorks or what it is. So they're going to give us an overview of what it is, so that you understand kind of what the company pays for, what's available to you, and other options. And they'll walk through that in a little bit more detail. So I think that will be very, very good. So, all right, let's start with our top producer. Linda, look at you in that bottom right corner.
How about that? Yay.
Way to go, Linda.
We got our October producer and our November producer all on the line. We are in just awe right now of the royalty in front of us.
You're so full of shit.
Well, congratulations, if nothing else.
You just coming across that, Linda?
Yeah.
So, and a couple other things we've got. So let me kind of walk through so you kind of understand where we ended November and kind of where we're at for the year. So the month of November, we only closed 7 units for about 1.4 million. Our goal each month is usually about 10 for about 2.2. So we were 3 off. We were about 800,000 off. But look at when we come down to fiscal year to date. So remember, fiscal year to date would be July through November. So the fiscal year to date goal would be 56 units at 12.5 million. And we're technically right now at 73 units for 15.7 million. So we are, a good number of units ahead, plus over by about 3.2 million. So you guys have been doing great. I think, some of the plans that were put together with a lot of uncertainty, not knowing, who was going to do what. And I think we've had some great wins, and we kind of see how the market is going. So look at how that takes us when we look at 2021 as a office combined. So remember, 2021 goes from July 1st through June 30th. So currently 73 units for 15.7 million volume versus a total goal. And every time we add new people to the office, we add not only units, but we also add volume. So if you happen to go back and look at previous months, you would see that last month we were at, I think 119 units at 26.7 million. But as we add people, the goals go up. So right now we're at 73 versus 125 units, which is 58% of goal. So if you kind of think about this, we're technically only 5 months into the year. So we technically should be about 43 to 44%. So we are trending in a great direction, even for volume. If we keep this up if we duplicate this for another 5 months, I'm projecting that this office could be anywhere about 120 to 130% of goal, which is absolutely awesome to see. I also think that as we get closer to the spring, we could blow these numbers way out. We're already seeing a number of things. So if I fast forward and give you a production forecast of already what we're seeing for December, and that should say December goal, not November goal. So sorry for that. Already we are projecting to have 14 units closed for about 3.4 million. Linda killing it out there. She just put a few more into contract, which are great. So that will help us close above the unit and the volume for the month. That again will take us, even higher. So then that would take us to 87 versus 125, 19.1 versus 27. So by the end of December, we're going to be at about 70% of goal across the board. And these were our 2 slow months. So I think January and February will be busy. If we kind of think also, nope, I didn't do it. If we kind of think, I'm already seeing the projections. I know Vicki Russell had a new listing yesterday in contract in 6 hours. So we have listings that are going into contract so quickly. So this is great to see. And then of course, we've got the buyers on the other side, which is also great. So we've got closings happening. So we have a lot happening, which is great to see. So that's all going to kind of add together and help ensure that the production for the office is going in the right direction. So that is kind of where we're projecting. So again, I think my goal right now, if I had to put my finger on it, is I think we will end about 120% of goal. So I think we'll end somewhere about 145 to 150 units. And I think we'll end probably about 35 to 40 million in volume, which would be absolutely awesome. If we keep in mind, Dublin does about 50 million. So we're inching closer and closer to some of these other offices. And as we're adding people, we're taking on additional goal, but we're also seeing some great results. What this also does not include, relo. And there are sales figures and stuff that get factored in because of relo that happens as well. So I'm just primarily looking at the sheer listings and the overall sales numbers just to make sure we have a good projection. So we'll even end north of that because I know we've had a number of great relos happening. And I think Bob has 2 or 3 more he's putting in the pipeline. And I've heard from several others that we are seeing additional relocation happening as well. So any questions on the production? I think I just saw a question pop into the chat. So let me double check to make sure. Oh, perfect. All right. So let's just keep walking through this. Let's get through company updates, kind of get you going, kind of remember markets remaining very competitive. I continue to see it. I know Linda and I've talked about it. Sandra and I've talked about it. So I think we're all seeing it across the board, that, as the inventory is not really there, we're seeing a lot of competition. We're seeing things across the board. So just make sure you're staying diligent. If you have new buyers that are looking to get in, make sure that they're, qualified right off the bat before you start, because otherwise the market will eat you alive. Utilizing the coming soon policy, I used it myself personally. I put a new listing up on Friday. We ended up putting it as the coming soon for 2 weeks prior, just to give them a little bit of time. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it because I was like, well, is this really going to work? And I will say that it worked, because I had showings that were popping up in showing time, like literally 2 minutes after I had, clicked on and made it active. So, and we were in contract by Sunday night. So I think it does work. And so it might be something to keep in mind. We do have a coming soon rider. We have one in the office that Fifi or I can access for you if you need it. So if you're going to do a coming soon, remember that the sign company will only be able to put the for sale with your name rider on it. They won't be able to put the coming soon, but you can always have the sign delivered to the office. And then we can, give you we can kind of loan that one, the coming soon rider out, so that you can have a better understanding of that and kind of put that sign on yourself. So
If you buy your own coming soons, they'll store them with your signs and put those on instead of the for sale, because that's what I'd done in the past.
perfect. Yep. But just keep in mind that so the company will pay, and I think I sent this previously, the company will pay for the sign being installed with whatever sign rider you choose. So if you have signs that you've done, like Linda has, she can order the sign to say, I want the coming soon on it, and have it installed. But if you send them back out to have them change the rider, then the company would end up charging you because we get charged for that. So just keep that in mind. I think up to this point, the company hadn't necessarily been tracking that or actually passing those costs on, but now the bill has gotten so substantial, so they have to. So that's why we want to kind of reiterate. You can have the sign installed with whatever rider you choose if you have it available, but if not, it would be the for sale, but you can always have it sent to the office and do it yourself. And that's kind of what I did for this one. And that way I could ensure it for whatever reason didn't say for sale and I violate the coming soon policy. So if you have questions or need to brainstorm anything, let me know. And if we run out of coming soon riders, we know we have them in other offices. I've already started trying to figure out who's got them. So if we need them, we'll find them from another office so we can get one for you if you need it. So, all right. The mobile app is out there. Hopefully you've downloaded that. Hopefully you have selected yourself as the realtor of choice. The nice part about the mobile app, again, once you choose yourself as the realtor of choice on your own personal app on your phone, when you hit share, it's going to literally share yourself already chosen to whoever you're sending it to. So then what that means is if you share it with mom, dad, sister, brother, uncle, cousin, neighbor, whoever, and they have the Linda Altamir app on their phone, then if they go and share that with other people because they love it so much, then Linda goes with them. So that's just, I want to make sure you guys are seeing that and getting comfortable using that, because once you download it once, you share it from the app to whoever via text message or email, and it goes with it. But if not, you can kind of use the same two things. You can use the app link, which is on your screen right now. So the app.cutlerhomes.com/your first initial and last name, just like it would be on your website or anything. You can also go in through the Cutler Online Assistant and go to Home Spotter, which is the last window on the links section. And you can actually put your first name or whatever name you want. So if I wanted to go in and set Linda up, I could say, I want a keyword that Linda. So if I was to text Linda to the phone number on your screen, they would get a branded mobile app link to automatically download Linda's app. So just things to keep in mind of things when you're kind of marketing yourself, thinking of social media, wanting to send somebody something. So now I can send Greg, I can send what's on the screen. I can send my first name to that, and I could tell somebody, hey, text this to this, and you'll automatically get a link for the app. They can go through the link provided there. Or there's also one on your branded website. Up at the top in the menu bar, there is a link for the mobile branded app. So it is there as well. So lots of places for you to kind of keep that kind of thing in mind. So, all right. So this morning, you should have received a communication survey from Debbie. It should have come out. It should have said, hey, last chance. I think the email came out at 9:55 this morning. It says, no, I'm sorry, 9:15 this morning. It says, last chance Cutler survey. What they're trying to do is we have put together committees to try and help solve what we as the management and leadership team have identified as the top issues within the company. And the three issues we came up with were communication, onboarding, and agent development. So those are the three areas that we as a management team are really diving into to try to figure out, how do we do better? How do we, make this, product better? How do we ensure when somebody comes in on day one that they are fully supported, they have the resources, and they are not just kind of treading water? How do we ensure that somebody who's been around for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 40 years, that they have the resources they need to stay up on technology, on what's out there, all of that kind of stuff. So we want to make sure we've got an agent development program that can be adapted and adopted by anybody, no matter what their tenure is. And then the third WIG, as they're calling them, is the communication aspect. trying to figure out how do we better communicate with you. And so I highly encourage you, and I really ask you to go on and be honest. Go on, please take the survey. It takes probably 3 minutes. They specifically will ask you questions about, hey, what's the best way to get in touch with you? Is it email, text? It'll ask you some questions even about chat. I've been a very vocal person trying to say we need to, if we're going to use chat, we need to kind of reformat it and get the technology there so it's more user friendly. But whatever your feedback is, please go ahead and do that. If you do that, you will, 2 people will get entered. They'll walk away with a $100 gift card. So nice little thing, if not for come Christmas time. But the feedback is really what we want to make sure that we're getting from each of you, because that's going to be absolutely vital as we continue to inch closer and closer to not only 2021, but the start of the new year. All right. So cross country. So we have a partnership, as you know, with Cross Country Mortgage. Here in the Central Ohio market, we have the partnership with 614 Mortgage. You've probably met Andy Danick and Jacob. You know, locally, we have Josette Williams, that she's in our office. She's now, you know, a loan officer. And as a company, we have been, you know, we need to be trying to take them with us into our listings and trying to help drum up business, just as we need to be relying on them to come through and make that business happen. So as a reminder, we do have yard signs in our office. If you do have a listing coming, if you would help us out and put one of the signs up. If you have some of the flyers, we have them sitting like on Fifi's desk. We can make additional copies if you need them. But if we can just continue to kind of promote our internal partner, I would truly appreciate that. I can tell you that we are working on some new things, trying to brainstorm ideas of how can we continue to ensure that Cross Country is delivering value for us as agents and an office. So we are working on that. So I think this is a growing partnership that will be kind of happening. So, but if you can do me a favor, if you do happen to have a listing and can throw the flyers out, put the sign out and take some pictures for me, I'd appreciate it. And they are offering each month, they're offering Starbucks gift cards to people who end up doing this. So if you look on chat, you'll see signage incentives that are out there. So if you want a free Starbucks gift card and take some pictures for us and get them put up. The pictures that are on the screen are from my listing for over the weekend. I just put the sign out real quick. I put the flyers right next to mine. It worked. It was quick and easy. I do also understand that some of you do have other partners that you do work with. I completely get it. I think this is a work in progress, so don't feel like you have to do it. What I'm asking for is if you've got the ability and you don't have a financial partner that's going to be working with you or at that open house, doing the open house or helping you with that listing, and you can do it, great. I think we're kind of in the baby steps. We're kind of inching our way closer and closer to how we grow this partnership. I personally would like to see some additional value brought to not only our office, but I think it comes at a premium. So I want to see some additional things before, even for me personally, if I keep putting the signage up, other than the company really wants me to, I want to see some things. So I completely get it, and I will continue to kind of advocate. But if you do have the opportunity and can help me out, that would be great. All right, let me see if there's any questions on any of the company updates before I move forward. All right, so next office meeting will be the December 22nd. Most likely, we may end up canceling this one because I think most people, I kind of looked at who's gonna kind of be checking out for the holidays. So I'm gonna play this one by ear. I don't think there's gonna be anything major that's gonna have to be talked about. So most likely we'll cancel it, but just watch your calendars. If you see this office date kind of fall off your calendar, it's probably because we cancel it, but I'll make sure we note it in the Monday news as well. Remember to follow COVID-19 safety measures. Debbie sent an email this morning. If you yourself, or let's say a spouse or someone in your house, does test positive for COVID-19, please let me know so I can let the company know. We want to make sure that we have a good understanding, just like the health department will do in terms of contract tracing. We want to be doing the same thing so that we better understand whether or not somebody was in the office, were they around potential clients, what safety measures do we need to take? A couple weeks ago, we ended up using a company called BioPure to come in and sanitize the entire office. I actually, I sat in my car, excuse me, and I watched the whole process, and I was like, wow, okay. So, we have these different technologies in place, but if all of a sudden, if let's say somebody, you or somebody tests positive for it, but you haven't been in the office in 3 weeks, or you haven't been around somebody, that's still okay. I still want to make sure we know, so that we can make sure you're getting the care or whatever you need. But also, I want to just make sure that if we need to alert other people or we need to take precautions, that we kind of are doing that. Keep in mind when we talk about COVID-19 that everything I keep kind of copy and pasting and putting into the Monday news about when you're doing a showing, if the seller has requested, please make sure you're following that. People do have Ring cameras, and they have cameras and stuff that are around. And I've been hearing about some folks that have been literally not following what the seller has asked and are walking into homes without masks on. And because there's a video footage of it, they've been getting dinged for it. So just make sure you're kind of following exactly what the seller has said. And honestly, it's a smart thing just for us all to make sure. Have hand sanitizer, gloves. I keep a little Ziploc bag in my glove compartment with some extra gloves, some extra sanitizer, some extra masks, so that if I'm out and about and we're doing showings and somebody doesn't have it, we can step in and make sure that they have everything that they need. So just continue to follow COVID-19 procedures, because I think that's going to be important. All right, Vision 21. So as we continue to inch closer and closer to the start of calendar year 2021, but also, as I would say, come July would be the start of our next fiscal year. I kind of saw when I first kind of came into this office that we were kind of all over the place. We had people using different systems, and some people were using our tools, some people weren't, some people had no idea. Some people had a database, some people didn't. And I think, this has been a great learning adventure for us all, because I throw myself into that I've been learning as we've inched closer and closer. And as I'm learning about the tools and things. So I think we've come full circle. I think to see in the past literally 6 months from where we were to where we are now, I think almost everybody has an active database through the Cutler system. We're all working on AutoFlow. I know several people have given me data entry things. We've sent those up to Canton to be entered. If you have additional data entry needs, there's still probably some time. So if you do, please let me know and I can try and take advantage of that. If not, I do have a couple solutions of things that we may be able to work out. And no, that does not mean Fifi's going to do it, because she's already probably sitting there going, I'm not doing it. So, but I do have some solutions potentially that we could do. So if you do have data entry needs, you end up with, list and list and list. Like, oh, I'm never going to be able to get these. Let me know and we can brainstorm, because I do have a couple solutions we can kind of walk through. So when we think about the grand scheme, my goal would be that all of us, we're kind of setting the baseline for realtors in what will now be called the Southwest region. It's going to be a baseline. So we know that everybody's going to have their photo on their website, their marketing in place. They have a logo if they want it. Their website is set up. Their marketing is set up. They have AutoFlow going from their database. The branding is the same when it comes to your website as it comes to your email marketing, that the tools are there. You're able to use them. You know how to use them. And that to me is what I call the benchmark. I want to make sure that as we get into 2021, that we are all at that benchmark. Everybody's at the same point, whether you're coming on brand new or you've been doing this for many, many years. So like I'll use Brenda as an example. Brenda never had a logo. And so I was like, Brenda, we're getting you a logo. So Brenda worked, and Brenda has an awesome logo now. So now I want to take that logo and I want to make sure it gets on our website, on our business cards, on our TV screen in the office, so that everybody has that. So if you don't have some of those things yet, that's what we're going to work on to make sure that you do. I know that sometimes you might go, well, I don't really need it. I get it. But when it comes to us as a brand, everybody seems to have it. And I don't want one agent to not have a logo or a brand and everyone else too. So I want to make sure we get to that benchmark, because it's going to make us all look that much more professional. We're going to be on our game. And then when people come in brand new, they're going to look and go, wow, you guys, I mean, you all have your marketing's done, your websites are done, you've got your photos out there, everything is there. And that gives them something to work towards. And that way we're setting the benchmark to say, hey, if you want to be a part of this office, this is the expectation of what we expect. You're going to have to do all of this in order to get there. And these are the things we would, of course, help them with and make sure everybody's there. Yep, go ahead.
What I think is really cool is that Cutler is one of the few companies that I know that really like allows and encourages their agents to build their own brand. Because if you look at any other company's website, an HER or Coldwell Banker, you've seen them all. They're all exactly the same with different pictures and phone numbers.
Yep.
And I think it's so cool that we can show our own personalities and our own our own type of branding. And anybody who doesn't have their own logos and stuff should just search through our company's website, look at other realtors' websites, and kind of get some ideas, and then impact their own personalities and what they're trying to sell into their own branding.
Absolutely. I think you said it absolutely eloquently there, because that then when somebody comes into the office, they're going to see your professional picture. They're going to see a logo that identifies you. And especially too, if you don't have a photo yet, we've got a couple folks who don't, we're going to knock that out. We're getting that taken care of, so that we really are driving a consistency standard across the board. And we are driving that creativity, because I agree with you. And that's one of the reasons that kind of caught my attention when I looked at coming to Cutler, was that, that brand, the company was kind of building the brand of myself, and they were coming along with it. So I do agree with you. I think that's absolutely vital. And then as we kind of inch closer and closer, besides, marketing, besides branding, besides, kind of getting that benchmark, starting to identify where and we've talked about this, where we're farming, what areas are we working? And what I want to do is as we start recruiting additional folks, and I don't know if you guys have been in my office lately, but I have a giant list of all the people who I have talked to and that you guys have brought forward in terms of names that we've talked to about joining Cutler. And there's like 23 different names that are out there. Some are in the process of testing, some have tested, some are existing agents. We've got a lot of people who are actively wanting my time to be able to talk about, joining. And it's because you guys are out there promoting exactly what we want them to see, how you're thriving in your life and your business. So if you see that list is just going to keep growing, because as we, kind of grow the standard, as we set the bar higher, all of a sudden people are going to continue to see it. I have had conversations with several top producers at other brokerages, and trust me, they are seeing it. They are seeing everything that we are doing collectively. They are seeing every effort, and it's kind of piquing their interest, which I think is great. So that means that we are getting stronger and stronger by the day. We're continuing to penetrate more of the market. But as we start to talk about farming, I don't want to go out and, recruit somebody if I know that Art and Linda and Sandra have Galloway and North Hilliard and West Jeff taken care of. Well, I don't want to go find someone, you know, and kind of recruit in those areas if we already have that covered. I'd rather look at areas where we don't have somebody. Do we not have somebody in Asheville or, you know, down towards Circleville or London or anywhere in the area, so that we can continue to grow our footprint, because that not only grows our farming areas, that grows our footprint, but that also grows the expertise that we have in the area. And that's probably one of the things that I love to see. I have seen so much collaboration coming from you all, and seeing that, you know, all of a sudden, you know, Stephanie Roberts is like, well, I'm debating on selling my house. And so I said to her, I said, well, hold on. I just talked to Thomas, who's in the German Village office, and he has someone looking in Westgate. You need to call him. Well, they called each other and the collaboration started, and it worked out that, you know, they were able to come up with a deal on her own house and make it happen. So the collaboration that we're seeing amongst each of you as agents is absolutely awesome to see. I think the more that we find as newer agents are coming into this company, we're going to hopefully hear them going, oh, hey, I've never really done a short sale. I'd be like, hey, call Vicky. I'm really looking at this house in, you know, a different area of Grove City. Call Linda. Oh, I'm looking at this, you know, it's a larger farm. Hey, Sandra just sold one. She could probably help you walk through it. This is exactly the way we need to be going, because the collaboration is growing dramatically. So I appreciate that. And I want to continue to grow that, because I think that's also what makes this office almost, you know, again, we're everybody's family, but we want to grow that and make sure that we're not stepping on each other's toes, but we all are measured at the same consistency level. So that's the main vision of getting us to 2021. I said when I first started that it was probably going to take a year. And I think I saw Doug's picture pop on. He's probably laughing because probably remembers me saying it probably would take me a year. So we're 6 months in, and we have seen such great results considering the production the production update we just did, the numbers that we're seeing, the camaraderie, how we're all measuring ourselves and pushing ourselves to the next level. It's great to see. So we will get there, but I just want to keep you up to date on kind of what my vision is and where I hope to see us go, because we're all in this, you know, on this, I don't even want to call it cruise ship together. Any questions about that? Cool. The last thing on the office updates, so I'm going to start scheduling these as we get, probably won't do it before the end of the month. I'll probably wait and do them in January, because one of the things I want to make sure of is as we're meeting, you know, with you and I, we want to be able to look to say, okay, cool. Is everything done? You have your photos, everything I've kind of just talked about. But then I want to start looking at, okay, how comfortable are you with real estate reviews? How has your production looked? Where is your goal? What's your goal that you had set? Where do you want to go? What can we do to further help you accomplish that? So I want to make sure we have those conversations. Some of you I have weekly conversations with, and I already know where you're at. Some of you I don't, but I want to make sure that at least before the end of the year, or maybe right after the first of the year, we at least have that kind of review till we can kind of figure out, because I'm asked every week, you know, by the company, what do we need? What do we need help with? What do the agents need? So I want to make sure that I stay in check and in tune with what it is that you all need. So watch for those schedulers to be coming out. You can kind of see where it's going to go. The next couple agent accelerators that we'll walk through will be about, you know, like today's the listing presentation, next one's, I think, a buyer presentation. And as we get into January, we'll start to walk through the real estate reviews and kind of make sure everybody understands like how those work. And I would love to continue to have an ongoing conversation with this whole group about who does it and who does it well and what are your secrets. So we can kind of steal those and kind of figure out, as we inch closer and closer to January, February, we can really be taking our database from AutoFlow to LiveFlow, starting those real estate reviews, hopefully getting out and possibly having more listings as we get into the springtime. So let me pause there real quick, just see if there's any questions, any other comments or anything on this. And if not, Doug, would you like to add anything that maybe I missed?
No, I think you've covered everything really well. I think that, one of the things that I'm excited about is, just like you were saying, Greg, I think we're off to a great start in the midst of making the management change and getting Greg in there and going through COVID. The Grove City office has consistently started making strides toward being our #1 office. And I like the idea of the growth opportunities that are there and making a regional office on looking at beyond just the Grove City market and being able to look at what you said, picking up agents that are specialists in Circleville and in the Tays Valley School District area and down by London, maybe even clear over by Canal Winchester. But you guys are all starting to work together really well. And I like the idea that even in the midst of everything that we've been going through and not being able to get to the office, the culture and the excitement of Grove City is there. And we want to continue to foster that and develop that. And, as we've talked and we'll talk further, getting that office more visible and getting a key location is something that is all top of mind with everybody. And Greg is constantly bringing us opportunities and looking at different options on ways we can make that happen.
Awesome. So let's pause since Doug's on here. Any questions for Doug while he's joining us? Wow, we've done a good job then. All right, let me check and see if there's anybody on from cross country, or I didn't think so. I think they had told me they had conflicts.
I know Griffin had a title at Dublin. He was just coming in when I was leaving up there this morning.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. All right, well, let's kind of talk if new listings coming soon. I know we've talked a little bit about this. Anybody have anything you want to share that you've got kind of in the works, or again, buyer needs? I know Linda needs a ranch in Grove City, but hopefully I've got that one taken care of.
I hope so, because I've been looking for a long time.
And I will actually, it's interesting because even my listing this weekend, I had other offers and all of them specifically said, when we chose the top one, they said, will you please keep us as a backup? They were like, if anything falls through, call me and we will. I'm like, wow. Like, so you can just tell how tough it is. And when people finally find something and they're just like, oh, so those backup offers, I've never seen them be so important, but these days it is. All right, well, let's keep moving. So any other questions, anything before we move on? Cool. All right, so the rest of our agenda, just to kind of remind you, we'll work on Agent Accelerator for the next 30 minutes. We'll do the pre-listing interview. We'll kind of walk through. At about 12:15, Nathan from AdWorks will join us, and he'll take over and kind of walk us through AdWorks. So I think, hopefully everybody's going to, be able to stay for that and kind of understand a little bit more about AdWorks, how it works, and kind of how you could possibly utilize some of the social advertising that the company pays for and how you can even do it yourself. I've personally done it, and I've seen some great results come from it. So I'm excited for you guys to kind of hear from them how to better utilize the tool. So, all right, let's talk about the pre-listing interview. We just kind of remember as we walk through Agent Accelerator, kind of what our Ninja 9 are. The pre-listing interview is going to be absolutely important as we get to number 4 and 5. It could even be part of number 3. It could be part of, just opening the door by writing those personal notes. As we get to even number 6, it's definitely part of number 7 and number 8 as well. So it's definitely a huge part of what we do. I know everybody probably has their own way of doing something. What I would say is put an asterisk next to this. I think this is, in this day and age, it's worth us all keeping an open mind and figuring out possibly there may be some new tip or trick out there. of something we could be doing better, we could be adding to what we're doing. And hopefully after we walk through the Larry Kendall presentation, we'll talk a little bit, but I hope also you guys will share additionally whatever else you might have. So let me get the video real quick. Oh, of course it wants me to log in now. Hold on. Now you guys can actually see a good tutorial of how to log into this, in case you're wondering. So once you go into, oh, really? You gotta love our systems. All right, so once you're into the online assistant, you're gonna come down, okay, computer. There we go. All right, we're gonna come down, we're gonna go to Virtual Academy, which I highly recommend everybody checking out. There are over 900 different courses. And if you happen to notice who's the top on the leaderboard, you can chuckle with me. Access. It's going to take you into the leading RE components. Let me see. Today. It just worked a little bit ago, so if it doesn't work now, I'm gonna really laugh. There it goes. Okay. Okay, Agent Accelerator. Now I gotta find it. Hold on. Now I should be able to access it. You try not to have technical issues, and then you always do. Look at this. Let's just do this now. We're just gonna. All right, so let's double check that we can hear this. Nope. Okay. So hold on one second. Let's.
Hello and welcome to the Ninja Path. My name is Larry Kendall. I'm the author of Ninja Selling, and our goal is to help you increase your income per hour so that you can have a life. We do that by helping you focus on your 3 success keys: your mindset, your skill set, and your actions. This lesson is a Ninja skill set lesson on the pre-listing interview. The pre-listing interview is very important. Let's say when the phone rings and somebody on the other end says, "Hi, you don't know me, but we have a mutual friend and they suggested I give you a call. I'd like to talk to you about selling my house." What do you do? Well, what most realtors do is they immediately make an appointment and go out and look at the house. What we would recommend that you do is take a moment before you make an appointment to look at the house and collect some basic information. We call this the pre-listing interview. So it would sound something like this. You would talk about the mutual friend and build the rapport, and then you would say, you know, what I'd like to do is set up a time for us to get together. And to help me prepare for that meeting, I'd like to ask you a few questions. Is this an okay time? And they'll say, well, sure. Usually it is because they called us. In that first 2 minutes, we want to connect with them, we want to build rapport, and then we want to take control of the process. You have just taken control of that process by asking, can I ask you a few questions? The purpose of this pre-listing interview is to first examine the patient and find out what is their situation before going in to do surgery. The patient is the seller, not the house. See, the most important factor in selling a home is, do you have a seller who can make good decisions? So often we get distracted by looking at the bricks and the sticks. You know, how many bedrooms, how many baths, square footage, condition of the house, and so on. All of that is important. But what we also want to do is size up our seller. What are some of the decisions the seller makes? Who decides on the price? Well, ultimately the price is decided in the marketplace through negotiation, but the seller decides the list price. Who determines the condition? How about the availability to show the property? And what about acceptance of a contract? And a really big decision, who picks the realtor? You see, the seller makes the important decisions. So what we know in Ninja is this: the patient is the seller, not the home. And top-selling ninjas don't list homes, we list sellers. So it's very important to assess your seller. You know, what are their expectations? Are they realistic or unrealistic? If they're unrealistic, can we help them to become more realistic? What is their motivation? Do they have what we call a gap? There's a difference between where they are and where they want to be and a time frame. What is their level of experience? Have they ever sold a home before? How cooperative are they? Do you sense that you're on the same team, or does it feel like they're fighting us on this relationship? What about their communication and their personality? Are they open and honest in their communication, or are there some sort of hidden agendas? And then finally, we have to take a look at the home itself. The bedrooms, the bathrooms, the square footage, and the condition of the home. In your pre-listing interview, there are 22 questions. We're not going to have time to go through all of those 22 questions on this video, but you have the handout. And at the end of the video, we would recommend that you get very comfortable asking those 22 questions. I want to cover some of the highlights on some of those questions. The purpose of this pre-listing interview, number one, is to build rapport with your seller and to take control of the process. That's really accomplished in that first 11 questions. Those are what we call foundational questions. It builds a foundation of rapport and trust with your seller. Question number 9 in there is about updating. And one of the questions you ask is, how long have you lived in the home and have you done any updating to it? If they've done no updating, it gives you a pretty good idea of the condition of the home. Question number 10 is, if you were to live in this home another 5 years, is there anything you would do to it? And if they say things like, yeah, we would do new paint, new carpet, new countertops, it tells you pretty much those things that a buyer maybe would want to have done before they buy the house. Question number 11 asks them to look at their home through what we call buyer eyes. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being it's in show home condition, 1 being it's more of a fixer-upper condition, how would you rate your house? And what would it take for it to be a 10? Again, whatever they list, those are things probably the buyer's going to want to have done as well, or at least reflected in the price. Asking these questions up front gives you a really good idea of the condition of that property. Again, we're examining the patient. We're not going to perform surgery. So we just ask the question, write the answer, go to the next question. Ninjas often ask me about question number 12. What are you going to be asking for the property? Or question number 13, do you own the property free and clear? Or will you be getting a loan? Sometimes they say they would be uncomfortable asking that question. Those two questions really are optional. It's important, I think, on question number 12, what are you asking for the property, or what are you going to be asking for the property, to get an idea, if you can, of their expectations, but it's not critical. The loan question depends on the market that you're in. I remember in the Great Recession where over half of our sellers were underwater on their houses, that is, they owed more on the house than it was worth. It was very important to ask that question. Depending upon your market, depending upon the price range of the home and so on, you may or may not want to ask that question. It's there for you if you want to ask it. Question number 14, what are 3 things you're looking for in a realtor? Listen very carefully, because you're going to want to make sure that you address those 3 things when you get together. Question number 15, are you interviewing any other realtors? And there's a spot there where you can write in if they give you the realtors' names. I would never ask the names of the realtors if they want to volunteer those. You have a spot that you can write it in. Mostly what I want to know is, do they have any other appointments set? And if they do, I would prefer to be the first appointment for two reasons. Number one, if they like what I have to present, they may decide to list with me. Secondly, if they decide not to list with me because they have these other appointments, I want to set the bar so high that the other realtors will have to measure up to that. I want to be the standard by which the others will be compared. Question number 16. Have you ever considered going for sale by owner? Ninjas are always asking me, why would you ask that question? Well, I like to ask it for two reasons. Number one, I'd like to know. But secondly, I think it sets the stage for the kind of open and honest communication that we're going to have. Everything's going to be on the table. And so I like to ask that question. First of all, they're kind of surprised or shocked that I would ask that question, but I would like to be able to set the stage for the kind of open and honest communication that we're going to have. Now, once again, regardless of what they say in any of these questions, just write the answer down and go on. You're examining the patient. You're not performing surgery. So if they say they are considering going for sale by owner, don't launch into your for sale by owner presentation. Just write it down and go on. 17 is a great question on finding out their experience level. Have you sold a property before, and when was that? You know, if they sold a property during the Great Recession, it's very different than if they're selling a property in a multiple offer market. Question number 19, and this is critical how you ask this question. Do you have any questions of me so I can be prepared with the answers when we meet? Be sure to ask it that way, because one of the questions they may have for you is, yes, what is your fee? You say, let me jot that down. You have a question about fee. I'll make sure that I bring my fee schedule when we get together. If you leave that out about so I can be prepared for when we meet, they will press you for an answer right then. What I find is if you ask the question this way, very seldom will they press you on price, what we think the price of their home is, or what do you think, what is your fee at this point. If they do, you have to address it. But that won't happen if you ask the question just this way. Going over with them what happens next. At this point, you're going to have to make a decision on this. Are we going to do a one-call appointment or a two-call appointment? A one-call appointment is where you go out and meet with them and be prepared to list the house right there. A two-call appointment is where you go out and meet them, go through the home, and then set up a second meeting, usually at your office, where you actually go over the market analysis, the pricing, and list the house. What I find is top-selling ninjas, some of them do only one calls, some only do two calls. Some of them say it depends on the situation. And what are some of the things it might depend upon? Well, it might depend upon the urgency of your seller. If they are a power personality and they want to get on with it right now, I would recommend that you do one call. If they're more of a perfection personality who likes to have lots of detail, they like to take their time, you may want to do two call. Or if it's an unusual property, it's very difficult to come up with a price. It's a custom home, for example. You may want to do a two call. But you need to let them know what is going to happen next. Here's what's going to happen, one call or two call. Then what you need to do is get into their hands your pre-listing packet prior to the meeting. So if you're doing a one call, you'll have the pre-listing packet delivered to their home or to their office. You'll ask for them to take a few minutes to look through it. It'll give them some information about the market, about your marketing plan, and about your company. If you're using a two call, you can simply take it with you on that first call. And at the end of the call, say, I've prepared a packet of information for you. If you could take a moment and review this before we get together, it'll answer many of your questions. It'll also give you a good overview of the market and the services we provide and our marketing plan. At the very end, question number 22 is, if they called you because they were referred from a friend, then you want to suggest to them, if it's all right with you, I'd like to give John a call and thank him for referring you to me. Would that be okay with you? They'll really appreciate that. It shows the kind of professional that you are. If you follow these steps in the pre-listing interview, what we have found is you'll be much more prepared when you go out on the listing appointment itself, You'll list more houses and you'll get more houses sold. So you have the pre-listing interview with you, and we would recommend now that you take some time to rehearse. Thank you for joining us.
All right. So I will be emailing you all the actual the pre-listing walk through. It's going to be hard for some of you to probably see this, but some of the questions that he contact information. We want to make sure we understand who exactly the decision maker is, and I think he did a good opportunity of walking through. Yeah, we want to get the major milestones of the home, but I think as we get into what I would call page 2, it becomes that much more important. So let me throw this out to you guys. What has been your experience in utilizing a pre-listing interview like this?
Well, I think it helps organize kind of your thoughts, kind of keeps you on track with getting through the information. I know a lot of times if I'm not doing this, or if you're trying to do this on the fly and somebody calls you and you don't pull this out and go through it, then you tend not to have all the answers or have good knowledge about where they're at. And I think, kind of as Larry was talking about on this video, getting a real mindset on where those sellers are coming from makes a huge difference in how you present to them, and also what you think their expectations are going to be throughout the process.
Absolutely. And I think number 8 really jumps out at me. So number 8 says, what sold you on your home when you bought it? Because there are certain things that, again, if you're going to try to use this, not only listing interview for you could potentially have the business to the new home. So I think it's an important question to understand, what was it that they really liked about the home? Because there may be some interesting features or things that that you may not have seen when you kind of walked through. But I think it also gives you good intel about their own personal style that you could be using if you were going to help them purchase something as well. And another question that I didn't see on here, but I think it's important and I find a lot of value, is, do they know of what has sold on their street or in their neighborhood? And one of the reasons that I constantly ask that question is it helps you to better understand what level of information or misinformation is going to be kind of hanging out there. So let's say for whatever reason they say, oh yeah, John and Sue sold their home across the street for $580,000. And that might be correct, or it may be incorrect. And it may be one where that's just a number that they had heard, and you go and you look at the address and you see, oh, they really only sold it for 400. So I'm not sure where they came up with 580. But it also gives you a good basis of kind of where their thought process is. Because if you were to then ask them, hey, what would make your property a 10? Or hey, what kind of price are you thinking about? It would get you kind of thinking, kind of better understanding where their thought process is. Because if the neighbor across the street sold for a dramatically higher amount, and in their head they're going, oh, maybe we could be somewhere around there, you can kind of understand very quickly, are you going to be a big letdown when you tell them the true value of their home or what you think you could market it for versus what's in their head? So I kind of like that. I like to use this type of questionnaire or this type of questioning to just kind of keep the conversation going, kind of figure out what you can learn. So does anyone else use this type of questionnaire or anything like this?
I do. I always do, on my phone interview, ask a lot of these questions, not all of them. And I have some that I ask that really aren't on here. But when he said you don't necessarily have to ask for the, if they have a mortgage or mortgage balance or what it is, I always ask it, but I don't ask it in that fashion. I always ask them, I say, so that I can prepare an estimate of seller's expense, can you share with me what your approximate mortgage payoff is? And then they don't think you're like being nosy or what the heck do you want to know that for? You know, you're doing them a favor. I mean, you need that information in order to do that. And then, of course, also ask them if they have any second mortgage or a line of credit. 'Cause a lot of times they don't even know or understand that a line of credit is also going to have to be paid off. So that helps circumvent some problems in the end if they are surprised once the title work comes back and they've got something else they've got to pay off.
That's a great way to kind of phrase that, Linda. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Does anybody have questions that is not on here? Because, you know, I'm a firm believer. I don't necessarily think cookie cutters work for everything. I think you need to adopt your own style and kind of figure out how you're going to make it your own. So if there's other questions or things you're using that you think are, I'd love to hear that.
I think one other important thing is, you know, when you're checking out the auditor's site, as long as they got permits, you have access to see that, oh, they got a new furnace in 2018 and they had a roof put on in 16 and things of that nature. And you can actually volunteer that information to them and then ask the question, in addition to those things, have you done any other updating? And that way they really know you're on top of things and you've done some research prior to just asking them those questions.
That's a great point. I never even really thought about that. So what else? Anyone else? Brenda, anything you've done this as well, or any questions or anything that you ask or try to probe to learn more about people? Sandra just put in the chat, all good points, a different approach, a patient, funny dissecting of my seller. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, if you think about, you may not know, you may just literally have had an introduction to the person to say, hey, this is Fred and Sally. I'm friends of so-and-so, and you may know nothing about them. And I saw this, and Linda, I put you out, because I saw Linda do this the other day, because Linda sold a property and then neighbors across the street called her and she said, oh, I'm probably not going to list it for 6 months. And I said, oh, okay, you're going to go now? And she said, absolutely. I want to be able to tour the house and, you know, kind of learn more about them. And I went, you know, that's a really great approach. So Linda, I think how you were doing that, I think you're, you know, a prime example of that, because you probably didn't know those people, but it gave you a chance as you're touring their home to also learn a little bit more about them.
That's correct. It gave me time to like bond with them, and then I made suggestions on some things that they needed to do, which gave them plenty of time to work on those things and then not delay it should I have waited until they were ready to list.
And I think the other thing I would add in is if let's say you're, you know, going into a big listing presentation, if you're nervous about something, if you're just feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm prepared, make sure you reach out to someone on this team. Everybody has done it. Everybody has been in that situation. Everybody's overcome, you know, oh, I've never really gone into a $500,000 listing appointment. You know, talk to people around you, talk to your colleagues, ask questions, ask them, can I just have a couple minutes on the phone just to, you know, kind of ask a couple questions and kind of figure out, is this too much? Is this not enough? And all of that, because you just want to make sure that you are not only showcasing your talent, but also keep in mind, you come with not only the brokerage, but over 400 agents across the entire state and 20 of us locally, you know, so you are part of a team of experts. So tap into them and utilize them, because I know Linda's done it, Brenda's done it, Sandra's done it. Everybody has done presentations, whether it be the good, the bad, or the ugly. You know, we've all had that where we walk in and say, well, I know I'm going to get this. But you've also had the situations where you walk in and you think, oh, this is a slam dunk, and you don't get chosen as it. And you've also had ones where you walk in and you think, oh, I'm going to get it. and all of a sudden it doesn't work out. And you're like, what did I do wrong? Like, what did I miss? You can't ever dwell on it. You have to just keep moving forward. So talk to your colleagues, because everybody has been through it. And there are a ton of resources online. I'll also send you this questionnaire, but I highly recommend not just using a cookie cutter, make it your own. Because if you're going to do, like Linda keeps some of the questions like on her phone, figure out what your go-to questions are and kind of rehearse those. Get those really cemented into your head so that you don't, all of a sudden sound like a robot and you're going, well, okay, well, hold on one second. Let me grab a piece of paper. So, Mr. Seller, how would you identify your home from being a 10? You don't want it to seem like you're now reading and trying to fill out a questionnaire, but that's what you're using as your guiding document. So make it human, because people can pick up. People can pick up. They can sense fear. They can tell if you're nervous. Then just be honest with them. Say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. And I want to make sure I ask you lots of questions. If I miss something, I apologize. Well, we're all human, and that's kind of it. So definitely tap into the resources you have around you and make sure that we can better identify anything else you need if there's a potential listing presentation coming. So any other comments, questions, anything else?
I'd like to say, I was talking to Don, last month, actually, when he was going on an appointment and is nervous about the appointment and nervous about pricing. And I said, Don, as long as I've been doing this, I'm still nervous, particularly about pricing, because I've never seen a market. I've been through a lot of different types of ups and downs in my career with real estate, but I've never seen a market where it is so difficult to price because of the lack of inventory. So, don't feel like you're alone. Doug, if you're still on, I'm sure you've got a lot of high priced property, and you don't want to under list the property, and you most definitely don't want to over list the property. That hurts worse. But hey, we all get nervous when we're trying to pull out the right number.
Absolutely. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to fine tune it later on. You might, do exactly what Linda said of walking through the house and identifying, hey, as it currently sits, I would list your house at this. But, if you wanted to, use a couple months and kind of put some elbow grease into it and fix these couple of things, hey, this is what I might be able to potentially do it. But what a great conversation. So I think this has definitely been a wonderful conversation. I love these agent accelerator sessions, because if nothing else, doesn't matter if you've been in real estate one day or 40 years, we are all learning. We are all learning on how to sharpen our skills and make sure we stay at the top of the market for our clients. All right. Well, we are at the 12:15 mark, and I see that Nathan has dialed in. So Nathan is joining us from AdWorks, and I kind of told you throughout the morning, I'm going to give us an overview of kind of, what AdWorks is, how it works, how you may or may not be utilizing it, kind of what the company provides for you. So if you want to just keep your questions, I'm going to turn it over to Nathan, and let's see what we learned. So Nathan, it's all yours.
Thanks so much, Greg. What a terrific introduction. And I love that slide you had too, the AdWorks design slide there. I feel like that's so good. I should put it in my slide decks, but I appreciate that you're having this kind of conversation. This is the kind of thing that I'm really interested in too. And I see this, this pre-listing kind of checklist, and it can be really tricky that, what is it that we're offering? What is it that we can use to set ourselves apart even? And I think that's one thing that we can tie this together, is how AdWorks can help you during that listing presentation, is to give you an extra edge over some other agents. So we're going to look at that in a second. All I need from you, Greg, is to be able to share my screen. Looks like, okay, great. Yep, that's working. Okay, so let me do share here. And then, now I'm looking at my, there we go. So we're going to just chat briefly about a little bit about what AdWorks is. Just do like a, 5-minute quick recap on AdWorks, just so we're all caught up to speed. And then I'm going to share with you some of what Cutler Homes is providing you through our technology. And I guess I can't see a show of hands here because I don't have video for you guys. But in the chat box here, I'll put a little note here. How many of you come from a technology background? Is that like would you consider that a strength of yours? How many of you, come from a technology background? Let me put this in the little chat box here. Is that common, Greg, for your office, do you think? No, business is really typical. Greg says, I'm comfortable in techie. Okay, so that's unusual. Only reason I ask is because I developed websites for 10 years, and sometimes I get lost in this stuff. So I want you to just be patient with yourself, be comfortable. This stuff can take a little bit of work to understand how it goes. There's a bit of a learning curve, but like any skill, you get better with practice. And it's the kind of skill I really want you to be good at, because it's the kind of thing that most agents are just never going to learn. And so these tools are like force multipliers. They can take what you're doing at 1, and they can do 10x and multiply your efforts and stuff. So I want to talk about how we can use some of this stuff. So first things first, I want to just do a quick, just like question about, I get from agents a lot, like, why digital? I do a lot of these webinars, and I probably have, 500 agents a month or so coming through my trainings. And whenever I hear that question, like, why should I care? Say, Nathan, I've been doing this a long time. Like Greg says, I've been doing this for 40 years. I've never done any of this digital nonsense. Why am I here? What does it matter? I say, well, that's a good question. But look here on the left side of my screen, if y'all can see that. Nielsen says 11 and a half hours a day is typical for most Americans spent in front of a screen. Now, does that sound high to you or low to you? That's my question. If it sounds high, clearly you don't have teenagers at home. But I work a desk job. I do webinars like this 8 to 5 every day. So I got 9 hours at work in front of a screen. That's easy. And then 1 or 2 more hours at home, on Instagram or something. So that was pre-COVID numbers. And I think now with 2020 data, whenever that rolls in next year, we're going to see that that's taken a huge leap forward. But then specifically, why it matters to agents is look at this number here. This was surprising to me. I pulled this from last year's NAR Home Buyers Report. Did y'all realize that people spend months and months and months looking at real estate before they even start working with an agent? I don't know if that was something that y'all knew. It was sort of surprising to me. I figured people just reached out to an agent and then they started looking at homes together. But just in my office, I've got 4 of my colleagues, Anthony, Alicia, Nicole, and Jacob. All of them are first-time home buyers looking at houses. And man, every single day it's the same thing. It's like, oh, there's, I saw a house I really liked. Finally, I put in an offer. There were 3 other cash offers above asking. So I back to the drawing board, But they were looking at real estate for a long time before any of them got realtors to help them. Because you can look on Zillow, you can look on, trulyrealtor.com. But check out this last one here. This was equally surprising to me. But again, maybe this is familiar to you. I found out that nearly 4 out of 5 people work with the first home buyer they contact. I'm sorry, 4 to 5 home buyers work with the first agent they contact, which I thought was sort of surprising, because what that tells me is that I might be spending months and months and months and months looking at real estate, and I don't have an agent, and I finally reach out to one, and almost every time that's the agent I work with, which tells me that most folks have not already made up their minds about who they want to work with, and they can be influenced. And so I want you to think about digital advertising as a way to influence buyer decision and buyer decision making. That's why Coca-Cola spends $250 million a year. That's why Nike's advertising too. We want to influence people. We want to get face forward, brand forward recognition. So let me show you what I'm going to do. This is just to show you this sort of the power of digital advertising. I would like to take vacation this month. Christmas is coming up. I'd like to take some time off. But how do I stay top of mind with the 500 agents a month that come through my webinars? Because I think we're like 7, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this one, Greg. I'm not totally sure. But I have a couple of options. After this webinar is done, I could try calling you to remind you about AdWorks. I could try texting you or emailing you or something. But I know you guys got a lot of Zoom calls. You do every day. It's only noon. This is probably your 4th one. And you got lots of technology vendors trying to get your attention. You're going to forget all about me as soon as we hang up, and that's okay. But I'm going to be sneaky about this. As soon as we hang up from this webinar, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take each of your email addresses. I'm going to upload them to my ad campaign. Can you all see on the bottom right of my screen here, that gray and yellow ad? That's a database targeting ad that I have running. I'm going to take all of your email addresses. I'm going to upload them to my ad campaign. And starting tomorrow, Wednesday, every single one of you on this call is going to start seeing this exact same ad everywhere you go online, whether you like it or not. And that's what AdWorks can do for you. So meanwhile, I'll be taking some time off. I'll be asleep, and you're on doing last minute shopping, you're booking travel on Expedia, you're checking weather on Weather Channel. You're going to see my ad over and over and over again because it doesn't sleep. So that's how I stay top of mind with thousands of people, the same way that you as an agent want to find ways to make it easier to stay top of mind with the dozens or hundreds or perhaps thousands of people that you need to stay in touch with. Could be Amazon.com, could be Weather Channel, could be Expedia, could be Food Network, could be WashingtonPost.com. Here's my ad. Again, I screen capped this exactly as I saw it. This was a few months ago. Whatever your favorite news website is, I'm sure it runs ads, New York Times or Wall Street Journal or whatever. In fact, where are you in, Greg, in Ohio? In Grove? I forgot the city already. What's y'all's?
Grove City.
What is it? Grove City?
Correct.
So I'm sure there's a local paper that you have there. Maybe it's the Journal, Herald, Dispatch, Constitution, whatever. In Durham, I know it's the Herald Sun. They probably have websites that run, their website probably runs ads as well. And I bet AdWorks ads run on your local paper website as well. So I like to joke with agents and tease them and say, look, I don't know how many people you've met have been featured on the homepage of ESPN.com, but I have, not because of my jump shot, but because I have effective online advertising. So just imagine, same thing, you could replace my face with your face in the same spots here. So that was my 5-minute quick high-level overview. Just wanted to show you, what is it we're talking about? Well, we are your official partner that Cutler has provided, saying like, we don't want the agents to have to mess with a lot of this. What if we could just do one click and they have access to the entire advertising inventory of the whole internet? And wouldn't that be nice? That'll help them outcompete other agents. So that's what we're talking about. Now, we're just gonna touch briefly on this. I only have about 20 minutes, but we're gonna touch on these two things here. First of all, we're gonna talk about the free advertising that the company provides you, just like Greg said. Each of you get your listing, residential listings automatically advertised. And we're gonna talk about how that works and make sure you're all real comfortable with that and you know how to make the most of it. If you want, you can also use the same technology to promote yourself. Now, this is really handy. You can see in the middle of my screen here. And the reason is because listings come and go, especially in a tight inventory market like this. And so you might have a listing today, gone tomorrow. And so, yeah, we're advertising it for a few days, but ultimately, like we saw, people are making up their minds over months and months and months and months looking at real estate. I'd love for you to be the only realtor's face and name that they see on their computer screens for the months and months that they're trying to make up their minds about which agent they want to work with and which home they want to buy. So we'll talk about if you wanted to do something similar, like I showed you with that database targeting. It's awesome, very effective. Great Q4 way to set yourself up for the new year. And then finally, I don't think there's time today, but I just wanted to mention, since the last time I did a Cutler training, I did a lot last year. I haven't done many this year so far, but we just launched the TV program too. So if you were thinking like, how do I up my game? How do I become even more well-known in my local market? Well, we have a couple of TV spots that we have produced for you with your name and face already on them. And you can target neighborhoods. You can target individual living room televisions in the neighborhoods you care about down to about half of a mile. So you can say, I want my TV commercial to play in these neighborhoods and not these. And it's already done for you. So that's just, I just wanted to mention it just so you knew, because again, there's all kinds of tools that are coming out these days, and most agents just don't know about them or how to use them. So that's why you guys are going to have an edge here. So, okay, so we've got about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how to promote your property using the free listings. And then we're going to just conclude with a brief discussion here on some of the tools that you can use if you want an ad for yourself as well. Some of you might even have one of these already. Okay, so let's talk about winning that next listing. So Greg was showing you that pre-listing, pre-meeting listing checklist. I thought that was terrific. I love that you're doing that. I think you probably overestimate as agents how little we know as, as buyers and sellers. I've been on both sides of that. And I remember my first time buying or selling a home, and I am just so clueless. And I am grateful that realtors exist to guide us through what is a very complex process, fraught with danger. just like the speaker was saying, you know, even pricing it can be really tricky. And so I don't envy you that task, because there's a lot on the line here. So people want to make sure they're working with the right agent. But I want you to consider that the next time you go into a listing presentation, maybe it's this week, maybe next week, whenever the next one is, I want you to think about how you can set yourself apart a little bit. So think about it. If that prospect is saying, like, you know, why should I list my home with you? There's these other agents that want to list my home. You say, look, when you work with a Cutler agent, we pull out all the stops. I'm going to do sophisticated digital marketing for your home, which means creating a custom ad, publishing it all over the internet. We're talking social media, we're talking mobile devices, we're talking websites, premium web, like Amazon.com, ESPN.com. I'm going to target your local market, specifically people who are likely to buy. I'm going to give you reporting that shows how many likes, views, clicks, and comments your ads are receiving, and I will do it within 36 hours. What other agent can promise you that? So this is already happening right now, you guys. That's the pitch you can give if you'd like. And I'll show you in a second here. Kelsey will do it for you. So we have a video here where you can just queue this up for your next listing presentation. Put it on your iPad or just zip it off in an email to your prospect ahead of time. Let them make sure they watch this before you talk, because I want them to be duly impressed with what Cutler has to offer. Now, I'll show you. I pulled a report here just for fun in the last 30 days, Greg. I found out in the Grove City, the Grove City office in the last 30 days, we had 4 agents with ads that we generated automatically. None of these agents, and one of you on the call might be featured here, you didn't have to create these. Just the company is investing in you by giving you this free extra exposure, both for your property and for you, to thousands of people in your local market. It just happens completely automatically. You don't have to lift a finger. Isn't that cool? I really like that. So Vicky's got one here, a 3-bed, 2-bath. Linda's got one, a 3-bed, 2-bath. Stacy, a 3-bed, 1-bath. And Stephanie has a lot of 3 beds. It looks like in this area here. All just listed. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me add one comment while you have that on the screen. So one of the reasons that I really wanted Nathan to join us to walk through is because this advertising is kind of provided for you. So use Vicky's. Vicky's is there on the right. Vicky's went live yesterday. It is already in contract. So one of the things through the AdWorks program is, if I was Vicky, I'd be telling her to log in and actually change the header of it from for sale to pending, so that Vicky would then have advertising for the remaining 6 days or 5 days of her campaign, and it would then say pending versus for sale, so that for whatever reason people are still clicking through, but they can see how fast Vicky had made that happen. Or let's say you get a cash offer and you want to change that real quick, or let's say you're going to have an open house. In the first 7 days, you have the ability to change all that, as he's kind of doing right on the screen. So that's why I wanted to kind of make sure you guys understood this, because I have personally seen how effective that can be when you kind of change and tailor, that the marketing kind of follows kind of how the market is.
Greg, not only did you impress me with your slide, you're impressing me with your digital knowledge here. So I feel like we should hire you to do some of these trainings, because you just know this stuff backwards and forwards. I'm really impressed. It's so simple to do. You don't have to have any special knowledge or technology. It's all right here. You can see this little corner ribbon. I went from just listed and I changed it to pending. This you can do on day 1. You can do it immediately. That happens, especially in a market like this, where these things, I'm sure, are flying off the shelves. Most agents I talk to say they can't even keep inventory in because they're selling. And you can even say, like, pending here. Now I'll point out, it has the Cutler Real Estate logo on the right, and it repeats Cutler Real Estate again. Now, Greg, am I correct in assuming that you don't have to, by law, have the name twice on your ad? You can just have it one time, correct?
You can just have it. Correct.
Okay. So watch. So even though it says company here, really that's just a space to write something. And it says Cutler Real Estate right there, and you got the Fair Housing logo. So you're all set. What I'm going to do is, instead of company, I'm going to say this one sold in 2 days. And then this is still going to run for free to thousands of people in a 15-mile radius around that home. What that means is, if there's any other people in that 15-mile radius in that neighborhood who are thinking about listing their home, they're going to see, wow, Vicky got this home sold. You could say something like, how about this? Let's change it to multiple offers. Did I spell that wrong? I did. Multiple offers above asking. How's that? So, use this to brag a little. I know that top agents, they'll always do post-marketing of their properties and let people know, hey, I sold this one, I sold this one, I sold this one, because that's the kind of stuff that, speaks for itself. Like, obviously, you get stuff done. Columbus, Ohio, I might even actually put the, 123 Main Street or, whatever, or, Main Ave or something, Columbus, Ohio, just so people can, if they want to Google it or something, they can. You could say 3-bed 2.1. I don't know if that's supposed to be 2.5. Sometimes for the MLS gives us weird data, but regardless, lots of things we can do here, and Vicky gets that free exposure. And if you wanted to, you could even run it for an extra 7 days or not, doesn't matter. You can change the colors here. That's sort of the Darth Vader version, or you can invert it, which actually I think kind of looks cool too. You can do the white on black, which I think has a neat effect. So I won't make any of these changes. It'll be up to Vicky, but she would just click update, and then that's it. So simple to do. Lots of options here. And you can see pending. We can also do open house. So some agents will even come in. Let's say you had one that was lingering a little bit, or a house that maybe goes under contract with Vicky. But we all know not everything goes according to plan. Maybe the buyer's financing falls out in 30 days from now, and this property, 123 Main, is back on the market 30 days from now. Well, Vicky could come in, extend it for an extra 7 days, and say, you know what, let's do an open house here, just to get both bodies in the door here, and then we'll do this Sunday 1 to 5. And I've heard from agents that use this and get bodies in the door because of this. I actually had an agent tell me out of the 10 people that came to an open house, 8 of them came from his ad, and he was in Florida. So that was really helpful for him because they're not allowed to do flyers in these gated communities, but they can do digital targeting ads within gated communities. So you don't have to worry about running afoul of any HOA kind of stuff or whatever. But only thing I'd suggest, I would say for Vicky, I would probably crop this a little tighter because it's so small on the ad. I would say maybe instead of waist up, I'd do like, sternum up or something, just because that way her face is a little bigger. There we go. You can see her lovely face a little bit more on there. So you don't have to. I'm just sort of fussy with my ads, but that way, her face is sort of more prominent relative to the ad there. And this is it. The only thing I want to make sure that y'all know about is, and I think if I go back, we'll see this on hers. The most important thing about this program, to get the most out of this, you got to promise me when you have an active listing, like it says right here, an active campaign running, that you put in your seller's email address. So we've got Todd and Christy, you can do up to 5. So please make sure to associate your seller's email. Greg, do we automate this? Do y'all have like Dotloop or SkySlope? Do we automate this?
Yep.
You do? Okay, great.
Yep.
Okay,
So if you have the seller's email addresses in Dotloop, it automatically pulls it in. And I will personally tell you that I have had sellers that they see it, it automatically goes to them. It's branded, and it shows them exactly the number of views. And the one I have currently running right now, I think I got 1,200 views just in the past 24 hours.
And I tell you, we do our best to make sure not only do we do the geo-targeting, because you want to show it to the right people. You don't want that ad, you pay for that ad to show to me in Durham, North Carolina. You want it to be in the right areas. So within those areas, we then try to select the people that we think are likely to buy. So we look at their browsing behavior. If you visit Zillow on your phone, if you visit Realtor.com, CutlerHomes.com, if you visit a certain number of sites, then our software says, oh, this is clearly somebody who's in the market to buy. Nobody does amortization tables for fun. So if you're going to a mortgage calculator page, then we can say with pretty high confidence. So when your client sees this, like when they're just scrolling on Facebook and out of the blue, they see their own front door on a national website, the first thought is, holy cannoli, Vicky or Greg must be spending a fortune to market my property. I'm so glad I went with them. And so delighted clients, happy clients means more referrals. So this program, we do have data to show that there's a boost to the agents that put in their seller's email. They on average have about 35% more listings per year than the agents who don't, just by putting in their seller's email because they're so delighted. I mean, in fact, one agent told me, said, Nathan, my clients think I walk on water. Those were her exact words, hand to God. She told me that. So that's how impressed her clients were. And I want yours to be impressed too. I want them to be really happy that they're working with you and to tell their friends about it. So.
And guys, keep in mind, I know we're always trying to find ways to advertise and do things. The company is paying for this. So the first week, of your, so once your listing goes active, that's automatically. So I want to make sure we get in a practice when we talk about saturation and farming, and that we get into a practice that, oh, yeah, AdWorks is going to go live. Let me make sure I go in, make sure that the ad looks the way you want. I've had effectiveness too, but I change the color every time just to make sure that I'm like, oh, let me change the color this time. Just so I know it's a different ad. So if somebody sees it, they're not going to go, oh, it's his ad again. Like, I just want to make sure I'm still being effective. And it gives me something to help keep it top of mind. But the company pays for it, so you might as well utilize it.
Yeah, totally. And that's why you're here on this training. That's why you brought me in. Part of this thing is like this program that the company's paying for. I want to point out that not all companies pay for this. There are plenty of agents who use AdWorks, not because their company set all this up. They just found AdWorks on their own, and they said, I want an advantage here. I want to impress my client, and they're doing all this on their own. Well, Cutler reached out and said, hey, we see what you're doing here, AdWorks. We want to just roll it out for every agent, and just, they don't even have to mess with it. We'll even pay for the first 7 days so that agents don't have to. So they went to some trouble to do this. And it's a similar way. There are other companies, other agents who come in, and we have some companies that provide database targeting for them and other kinds of things. In our case, if you wanted to do database targeting, if you wanted to do geo-targeting, these are optional add-ons that you can take advantage of, and you don't have to. It's just, just decide what makes sense for your plans for 2021, your marketing budget, what you want to do. Part of why I'm here today is just to show you what technology exists, because I want you to be well informed. I want you to know how to do these things if you wanted to, because most agents are never going to learn this or do this. So the agents who do have a big advantage, because think about how much time we all spend on our devices. If you're looking to stay top of mind with people, there are few better ways to do it than on the phone, where they spend most of their waking hours. So I want you to have that boost of attention. So if you wanted to do a database targeting one, like I showed you, it's real simple. We call that a sphere campaign, like your sphere of influence. And you just give me a list of email addresses, and we will target all those people. And you can have lots of fun with this. So the ads that I see a lot of agents doing right now are holiday cards. Because in the same way that you can change your listing ad anytime you want, the agents who are running sphere targeting, over time, it's November. It's time to get my Christmas. So agents are taking their ad and they're doing little Christmas lights or a Santa hat or a Rudolph nose, happy holidays from your favorite agent. It's not a hard sell. It's, it's just, again, this like frequent reminders. It's basically the digital equivalent of you mailing me a holiday card. But if you have one of these running already, and then come January, you can change it to something else, new year, new home, new you, kind of thing. You could change the messaging and stuff, but it's a real good way just to, frequently appear in front of the people that you care about most. Because if you're relying on referrals and repeat customers, you want to make sure not to neglect your sphere. This is probably the number one mistake I see agents making, is just neglecting their sphere of influence, their book of business. I'll conclude. We're almost out of time, but I just wanted to share with you then the other way. If you think of and here I actually have this on a slide. Let me show you this here. Oh, I didn't show you Kelsey. Okay, well, I'm gonna send you the email for Kelsey afterwards, and you can watch that, but let me just show you. So you might consider that half of your business approximately comes from your database. I know for some agents it's much more, 60, 70, 80%, but you can automate some of that follow-up with one of these. And then talking about farming, about saturation, if there are people in Columbus or in Grove City who don't yet know your name, and you got to think, I can't work with you if I don't know that you exist. So, awareness is a big part of our efforts, our marketing efforts. You could actually target new folks by doing geo-targeting. And these two work really well together. Plenty of agents have both campaigns running. These are just optional add-ons that you can use as part of this AdWorks partnership. And I'm just here to show you how they work, and so you know that they exist. And they're pretty cheap, and we don't have contracts and stuff, so you can take advantage here. Greg says, if anyone needs further help, I'm always happy to better utilize it. Great. So Greg is your asset. I can tell Greg knows exactly what he's talking about. Whatever Greg says to do, you should just do. I can tell you right now that you're going to be more successful the more you listen to Greg. So we have these targeting capabilities. Again, most agents not only do not even know that these things are possible, but don't even know where to get started and that kind of stuff. So whether it's Facebook advertising, which we include, or whether it's like the regular web, like when you go to weatherchannel.com or amazon.com or foodnetwork.com, when you're looking up a chicken parm recipe, our ads appear on all those places. So that's basically all I have. You also have account reps, I should point out, at AdWorks. So if ever you wanted to chat with one of our team, it's free. They're digital marketing coaches. They spend all day long every day helping agents understand this stuff and doing really good digital marketing. So in addition to Greg, I encourage all of you to just reach out to your account rep. All of you have one. And as soon as we're done here, I'm going to send out an email introducing you to that person if you want to take advantage. So Greg, I know we only had 45 minutes here. Actually, do I still have time? I want to give away some free cash. Do we have time to do that?
Yeah. I was
Okay,
going to
good.
say, give away the cash.
Okay, good. So that was all I wanted to share with you, is just, high level over here, listings. We've got these 2 other tools, and then brand new thing is the streaming TV. So just for fun, your homework is go into your AdWorks account and just watch one of the commercials with your face on it. It's a blast. You're going to love it. So that'll be your homework. But I'm going to type in here a website. So you'll see, oops, let me put the actual thing in front. So it'll adworksraffle.com/Nathan. I think now, yeah, there. Now you can click on this. Greg, can you click on that link in the chat and it opens up for you?
Yep.
It does. Okay, good. So I want everybody on the call. I think we're only, 3, 4, 5, but everybody click on that link and, click on your Google Chrome or your Internet Explorer. Just open up a new tab on your desktop the way you would like you're going to Facebook or checking your email or something. And I want you to put in your name and email. So if I click on this, then you see it opens up right here. And then I would just put in my name, Nathan Huning, and then I put in my email, click, and I'm done. So it'll take you about 10 seconds. So I want everybody to do this. I'm going to give away $250 towards a Sphere campaign. So if you wanted to try out that database targeting business, I'm going to give away 3 months of it for free on my dime. So it's the least I can do for making you sit and listen to me blather on for 30 minutes, was to give away some.
Pick me.
Something to show for your efforts.
So while they're doing that, let me also kind of add a couple points. So these guys know I won't ever get on the soapbox and really rally behind something unless I can really see the relevance and have seen the results for my clients. And I will tell you that, as these AdWorks campaigns have gone, that's what made me go, I wonder if there's a way to customize it. And I just trial and error, went in, customized it. I will tell you that I have had, in a 7-day period, I have had listings that the company paid for that have had upwards of 28 to 38,000 views with 28 to 38 different clicks. So the advertising works. And it's kind of scary, as he said, if you happen to go to certain websites and go, oh my gosh, I am there. Like it does pop up. It absolutely does. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm an advertisement. So it is there. I want to make sure you guys are utilizing this since the company is doing it. But the nice part is, even if you don't have time to do it, know that it's being done for you. But just keep that in mind about how we changed it to open house or pending, because that's going to help. You're going to kind of be that much more effective. The other thing that I don't think was mentioned is that if you want to extend for a week, let's say you want to go for 7 more days, the company, because we have the subscription with them, you get a discount. And I think that came through for there it is, $50.15, or 2 weeks is $100. It is well worth it. I have done all different forms of advertising across the board, whether you do a Facebook boost or you do, and I highly recommend it. Is well worth the $50 to be able, because then you can pick and choose how long you want it to go versus being like, oh, I'm going to pay $150 and this campaign runs until it ends. I can kind of go by the week. And if you find it was effective, you could do it for another week. And you can kind of see there, it gets a little bit cheaper as you do more weeks, but if not, the price for 1 week or 2, very comparable. I don't think that's a lot, in terms of, actually advertising our listings if you want to. So I just highly recommend. That's why I really was encouraged to kind of get Nathan on the phone with us to better learn about how to utilize this tool, because as we get into 2021, I think we're going to have a ton of listings, and I want to make sure that people are seeing Lee Cutler, but seeing each of you out there and for what you're doing. So
I love that. And I'll give you an insider tip here, Greg. This is not something most agents know about, but the thing is that when let's say you did 5 weeks, and if you just basically buy 4, get 1 free, because if you save $50, that's basically the cost of a free week there. So let's say you did buy 4, get 1 free, you did the 5 weeks, you'd pay the $200. Well, let's say again that you decide after a week or 2 weeks that you don't want to be running that ad anymore. Maybe it's under contract or whatever. Well, you could then cancel, and the remaining dollars, the difference is prorated to your account as credit, with no penalty, but you get to keep the free week. So if you like, and then you could just roll it out over the next couple of listings or something. So this is something I sort of encourage people, get the discount, and then cancel, you know, or whatever, and then it'll just be credited to your account, and you can use it later, which is a lot of fun. So that's a little tip, little pro tip.
You literally, my light bulb just went off, and I said, now I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and then, you know, it doesn't have to be for the same listing. You could even like swap out the photo and do it for a different listing, and actually I'll tell you one thing too, the Sphere campaign, the one where you put in your, you know, you put in your emails. Well, one other thing people do is if you have like a property that's lingering, that you're having trouble selling, or like it's a luxury or something, you could, because you can change this at any time. And if you've got your just agent ad running in the background, you could say, okay, this month to the 500 people in my sphere, I'm going to feature a specific property, or I'm going to feature 3 properties that I've sold recently, or so, you know, tell your friends kind of stuff. So there's lots of creative ways, and it's not hard to do a lot of this stuff. And so that's where it's worth doing. And again, just like Greg said, even if you do nothing, if you never even log into AdWorks after today, you still get the benefit of these ads running and people seeing your name and face. It's like, I don't want to give you more work to do, but I also want you to know that you have these other options. If you want to sort of roll up your sleeves and do a little bit of manual work here, you can get a lot more value out of the program. So
Absolutely.
in fact, I'll just, for the one last thing, I know we're running out of time, but I get real excited about some of these things because some of the best tips I have come from agents that teach me. So Greg, listen to this. So in addition to putting the seller's email, I talked to an agent one time who said, Nathan, the problem I had was that my seller didn't have an email. He was an elderly gentleman, but he had a lot of properties and a bunch of money. So I wanted him to know that I was working hard to sell this property because I wanted to get some of his other properties. I wanted to list some of those as well. So what she did was, she says, I put in my own email address in here, and I started targeting myself. And then the agent started seeing this ad, her own ad, everywhere she went online, and she would take screenshots of it. And then after she had like 5 or 6 of these, she printed them out, no lie, printed them out on a piece of paper and hand delivered them to this gentleman to say, look at all of the places I'm advertised. I know you don't see it, but trust me, these are running. Well, he was duly impressed, but that's not even the best part of the story. The best part of the story is this agent said, she said, Nathan, after a while, I realized I just started putting in my email address all the time. Just, you know, why not? And I started seeing my ads everywhere I went. I saw it on, you know, Amazon and Facebook and this. So she's like, I started screen capping all of these spots where I saw one of my ads appear. And over like 6 months, I had like 24 screenshots. And she said, well, it occurred to me, what if I took those screenshots and I upload them to my LinkedIn page? Because she used a lot of LinkedIn instead of Facebook. That was just her thing. You could do it to Facebook too. She said, I put on my LinkedIn page and I said, in the post, she said, look at all of the places where I have advertised my clients' homes on prestigious national websites. Here are 24 examples. I can do the same for you. Contact me today. So she used this program to let the world know what capabilities she had. And guess what? Didn't cost her a dime. All she was doing was adding her own email address and just some extra ingenuity, some extra resourcefulness. Well, again, that's the kind of thing I love to see. Those are the agents who succeed because they're like, what can I do to get an edge? What can I do to help me stand apart and stuff? So that's just a good example of the kinds of things that you will learn when you are coordinating with your account rep at AdWorks, because we want to teach you this stuff. We want you to be good at this and to get as absolutely much value as you can for the lowest possible investment of dollars. So let's take a look and see who's in so far. Should just be a couple of folks, 3 or 4, 3, let's see. So Greg, you probably are not going to enter. So we have Brenda, Linda, and Greg. Is there anybody else on the call? I think that might just be it, right? Let me see. Griffin, is Griffin going to enter? Who's Griffin? Is Griffin an agent?
Griffin's our title rep.
Oh, got it. Okay, so Griffin won't enter. So Linda.
Hi guys, what's going on?
hey, Griffin.
Hey, so I know I missed the majority of this meeting. Sorry for that, but kind of something that we're really trying to roll out for 2021. And I know it sounds like a lot of this is going for marketing purposes. Is we're really trying to help out our agents with just helping with marketing expenses in general, right? So if you guys look like you have a fixed expense that you're putting towards marketing dollars, please let us know. Let's see if we can help you out, kind of get exposure out there in the market, kind of see what we can do for you. I did see some of the price breakdowns. They look pretty reasonable, especially if Title I can step in and help you make some of those payments as well, or do something to help you. But let's just chat. I'll reach out to me, or I'll reach out to you guys if you have any questions on how we can help you. It's still kind of up in the air on like which direction we're going, but definitely something we're looking at doing for 2021 is really helping our agents with marketing dollars and getting their name in the market. So yeah.
I will send you the bill.
Love that. Yeah. Well, and you know what's funny is like, so like the database one, that's my favorite one, where you give me the names and I target specific people. That's only like $85 a month. Like it's probably less than your cell phone bill. And you think of it as just like a business expense. You got to have your phone, you got to have your database targeting. And like, if over the course of a year, you get 1 or 2 extra commissions, that you would not have gotten otherwise because of that constant reminding, like what's your average commission, after the split? Like, I'm guessing that even the $1,000 that you might spend over the course of a year is probably a whole lot less than you'll be making. So these stuff, it's not even that expensive either, but it works great. So I want to give you guys access to these tools because, like I said, most agents are not gonna mess with this kind of stuff. But so we're gonna choose a winner here. Oh, go ahead.
So, hey Nathan, I was just gonna say, is it possible to just split the prize between Brenda and Linda?
I don't think our system works that way. It might have to just be, you got to just choose one and hope it's your lucky day. So unfortunately, you got to do, I mean, if Brenda wins and she wants to then swap out the ad halfway through or something, but I'm guessing she's probably going to want to keep it for herself. So,
okay, I was going to try to figure out a way to help them both.
Well, I'll tell you what. So why don't we set up another off? We have plenty more topics. We're just scratching the surface here. We have 5 or 6 other trainings we could do here if you wanted. We can set it up in January or something. And then each time you set up an office training, I run a raffle. So that way you get more chances. So I'll send you, Greg, our training menu. There's like 5, 6 different ones that you can choose from. We can talk about which might make sense. So Brenda says, give it to Linda. She has actives. Well, the whole idea is that you get actives when you encourage your network to do it here. So let's just see what the computer picks. All right, we're gonna draw it at random here. Drum roll, please. Here we go. Okay, who's gonna be Brenda? Oh, Greg's in there. Oh, Greg, Linda, Greg. Brenda, who's it gonna be? Let's see if it's gonna be. Oh no, we can't choose Greg. Okay, we'll do a redraw. Okay, so we'll run it until Greg doesn't win. Let's see. Okay. Take 2. Who's it gonna be? Linda or Brenda? Linda, Brenda. Who's it gonna be? Watch, Greg wins again. Linda. Oh, hey. Well, so what do you think?
Perfect.
Brenda? All right, Brenda, it was your lucky day. I'm sorry, it was just meant to be. You're gonna have to.
Merry Christmas, Brenda.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Christmas coming around. $250, Brenda. Come on. So what is gonna happen is my colleague is gonna reach out to you shortly. I'm not sure who yet, but they'll help you create your ad, upload your first batch of contacts, and the nice thing about this is, put in 500 people, whatever, folks at church or your HOA or neighbors or friends and family, whatever. And while you're taking vacation this Christmas, you're taking some time off, your ads are still going to be running. Because you got to think, when people have time off, they're scrolling on Facebook, they're doing all kinds of stuff, whatever. So your ad is going to be appearing. And if they can just see it over and over and over and over and over again, then that's going to set us up really nicely for the spring. So when the season picks up more in Q1, hopefully you'll just be the only name and face they can think of. That's the whole idea. So that's all I have for
Brenda,
y'all.
that's perfect for you. That's perfect for you.
So that's all I have. You're going to see an email from me with a recap of what we talked about, but Greg is a great resource. Griffin, I'm excited to hear more about that. And then most importantly, I'd say for Linda, please set up a one-on-one with your account rep. Just you don't have to buy anything. I would say just talk to them, see what options there are. You want to have a relationship with them because they can help train you over time. I mean, Greg can too, but it's nice also to have your account rep's name handy on your Rolodex kind of thing. So in any case, Greg, thanks for having me. Let's set something up for January. We'll keep this rolling, and best of luck to all of you. Have a great and very Merry Christmas.
All right, guys. Well, that concludes it for today. Griffin, anything else you want to add in before we wrap up?
No, guys. Like I said, sorry I missed most of this, but I'll definitely be in touch coming up 2021. Let's see if we can really get your names on the market even more. I know you guys are doing great already. 2020 has been crazy. Market's been insane. We expect even crazier markets in 2021. So let's make sure we can get you guys all throughout Columbus, not just Grove City, Galloway. Let's get it all throughout the region.
Very soon, and I'll send the recording